Alrighty then, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another HD broadcast, and today we are going to be looking at a special Zerg versus Terran tutorial, and the actual build we will be discussing today is called the Baneling Bust. Now, I'm sure most of you guys have heard of this build before, especially if you guys played in the StarCraft 2 beta, but if you have not, if you just picked up your game a few days ago, sit back and enjoy this tutorial because it's a very easy way for Zerg to execute an aggressive strategy in the beginning, as well as overwhelm a Terran opponent who has choked off his front door. Now, before this build gets underway, this tutorial, I do want to say if you guys haven't checked out the GTX 460 graphics card review, make sure to go ahead and check it out on the front page. A pretty good graphics card for StarCraft 2, running it at the maximum settings. So anyways, as you guys can see, I did get my drone out around 9 supply, just going to use that to scout as well as harass the Terran player who is just building supply depots and barracks. Doing this is really good because it forces the Terran to pull more SCVs off the line to fight the drone. Now around 13 supply, you want to get your first extractor down. The reason why you want to get your extractor down is, oh, I'm actually going to kill that SCV too. But anyways, you want to get that extractor down at 13 supply and then follow that up with a spawning pool at 12 supply. So shorthand, this is called 13 gas, 12 pool. And the reason why you want to do this is because you need a lot of gas right in the beginning in order to research the Zergling speed and the Banelings. Now, some of you guys might be wondering what exactly is a Baneling Bust and how does it work? Well, a Baneling Bust works extremely well against Terran players because Terran players love to wall off that front ramp. And usually when a Terran walls it off, it completely makes them invincible and impervious to all types of early Zerg attacks. The Baneling Bust was basically evolved in order to remedy that. The Baneling Bust uses the fact that Banelings do extra damage to structures, and so you run up with your early Banelings and then you run through with your Speedlings, and you use the Banelings to bust through those weak supply depots at the front door. It's a pretty cheesy all-in build, but it works quite well, especially at the lower levels, and so I figured this would be a great tutorial for players who are just starting to play Zerg and want the ability to be aggressive in the early game. Now, as you guys can see, we do have that spawning pool finishing, and I do have the speed upgrade going right away on the spawning pool as soon as it finishes. That's the beauty of going for 13 gas, 12 pool, because it allows you to get that research for speed right away. Now, with the next 50 gas, you do want to get the Baneling nest. And you also want to get a queen if your opponent is going for possible Reapers. And if you guys rewind the video, you guys will see that I did see a tech lab and one refinery on the Terran base, and so he could have been going for Reapers, most likely was, and so I want to get a queen just to be safe. Now, my Zerglings are starting to morph out. I do have quite a handful, and the important thing when you go for this Baneling Bust build is to deny scouting. This is like any cheesy build, you do not want to let your opponent see what you are up to. If the Terran player sees the Baneling's nest and the one base Zerg play, then all he has to do is throw up a bunch of bunkers or more buildings at his front door, and that will completely nullify the Banelings that are going to try to bust through those weak supply depots. So it's extremely important that you do deny scouting, and controlling the map with your Speedlings, once that speed kicks in, is an essential component to that. Now, I am chilling in front of my opponent's ramp. I am starting to morph in a couple of Banelings, and I think the optimum number for busting through that front door is around 6 or 7 Banelings. And the reason why I say that is because it takes around 4 to kill the supply depot, and then you want a couple extra to kill off any straggling Marines behind the buildings. Alright, here we go. So my Banelings and Speedlings are ready at the front door. This is a pretty much all-in build, but extremely powerful against the unsuspecting Terran player. So let's see how this works. You want to run your Banelings up front first so that they all suicide onto those weak supply depots, and then you run your Speedlings right behind it. Right-click one of the supply depots, and there we go. All the supply depots go down from the splash, and then you flood in with the Zerglings to take advantage of the momentary weakness in the Terran player's front door. Going straight for the mineral line here, you want to kill off as many SCVs as you can, and that is pretty much gonna be game for the Terran player who originally assumed that his front door was going to be able to provide him safety and sanctuary. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that tutorial video, a very basic Baneling bust video, very basic strategy. But in my last tutorial I talked about how Zerg were such a reactionary race, so I figured that you guys would appreciate a very aggressive one-base Zerg styled play. So let's go ahead and take a look at the post-game analysis, where we are going to analyze the build order for the Baneling bust in a little bit more detail. As you guys can see, getting the extractor at 13 supply and then getting a spawning pool at 12. Starting to just continuously pump drones up to 14, and then you want to get your overlord around there, so you will have extra room for zerglings and a queen if necessary. Getting that metabolic boost around the 3-minute mark as soon as the spawning pool finishes, because you should have the gas. You guys can also see I got a queen here as well, just in case my opponent was going for reapers. Not necessary in the Baneling bust build to get a queen. Getting that Baneling's nest as well, and then just starting to pump out the Banelings and Zerglings around the 5-minute mark, and that's when you should crush your opponent's front door. If you don't end the game around the 5 to 6 minute mark with the Baneling bust build order, then you probably have lost the game already, because this build is so all-in-ish. So once again guys, this build order, the Baneling bust, is great against Terran players, pretty good against Protoss, but it excels against Terrans who wall off, especially if they do not scout it out. It's important not to allow your opponent to scout this Baneling bust out, otherwise he'll just build a bunch of bunkers and barracks at the front door, which will nullify the Banelings. So as always, make sure you guys stay tuned for more tutorials, and in my next couple tutorial videos I'll be talking a little bit more about advanced strategies rather than these one-base kind of all-in-ish strategies, which, by the way, they still work quite well. Of course, I'll also be doing shoutcasts as well, so make sure you guys always stay tuned, and yeah, thanks a lot guys. HD, signing out.